Don't get a fright. I'm a quick reader. Right, we are here today to celebrate Mum's life. And I want to thank you all for attending today, and certain people for all the help and love shown to improve Mum's life. Mum's goal was to reach 100 years, but the last 10 years has kept us on our toes. Dr. Keith and Dr. Groenewald, many, many thanks. All the extra help.
In World War II, to serve with her father who had been recommissioned, and her older brother who was a pilot with the Royal Air Force and training pilots here in South Africa. Problem was, one had to be 18 to enlist. No problem for Audrey, who falsified her age on her birth certificate and was promptly enlisted into the British Army. After training on home soil, she was posted to occupied Italy, where she served for the rest of the war with British intelligence, and is one of the few women in South Africa that I'm aware of being awarded the Italian Star. While serving in Italy, she met a young South African tank commander in Monza, Jack Burbidge, my father, our father. She fell in love and joined our father in Johannesburg, where they married in 1949. I need to remind you that the world was a different place in those times, and for a young woman to embark on a long sea journey and then travel by train from Cape Town to Johannesburg alone in a strange country took huge courage. Once reunited with my father, it was not all plain sailing, as his mother, a formidable woman, was most possessive of her only child and didn't exactly welcome Audrey with open arms. However, all was overcome, and the two women grew to respect each other. My father was working as a radiologist at a mine hospital, and my mother got work with Lever Brothers, and as with many young people in those days, were only starting their lives in their mid to late 20s, as the war had been hugely disruptive. Times were tough. After a long leave returned home to visit my mom's family in England, she joined the Garment Union's Medical Aid Fund as personal assistant to Helen Joseph, a well-known anti-apartheid activist who headed the fund. Again, interesting times, as the union officers were in the then security forces sites, and although not an activist, my mother had to endure the trauma of raids to her office by the powers of the day. When my mother left the union to give birth to me, Helen Joseph penned a glowing reference for my mother, as she obviously held her in high esteem. As I've said, my mother was not an activist, but both parents were loyal and true to king and justice, and resisted the huge changes of the late 1940s by joining and marching with Sailor Milan's torch commander. My parents marched occasionally, but danced whenever they could. And how they could dance. It was a joy to watch that beautiful golden couple glide over the dance floor. My mother's sister Mary and special friend Pam followed her from England and settled in South Africa, making a huge difference in her life. After my birth, and that of my sister 5 years later, my mother's life changed dramatically. She tackled her new job as mom with vigor and passion. No sacrifice was too much. I can't remember a rugby match, athletic meet, or swimming gala when my beautiful, blonde, and sparkling blue-eyed mother wasn't in the stands or sidelines supporting to the hilt. She transported my teammates to games, me to horse riding and piano lessons, my sister Wendy to all her activities. She just was always there. Audrey was equally devoted to her 6 grandchildren: Simon, Danielle, Sarah, Samantha, Rebecca, Ashley, and as well as her 4 great-grandchildren, Ulrich, Reggie, Elsie, and Josh. My parents had acquired the cottage in Paul Kruger Avenue, Kosmos, when my sister and I were quite young, and we grew up spending most weekends here. Kosmos was a magical place to grow up in, and my parents would entertain their large circle of friends from Johannesburg most Sundays. Initially no electricity, just like now, but wonderful and always interesting people in the village. Peter and Grace Haskins built this chapel and planted the beautiful garden which was soon to become the center of village life. My parents moved out permanently in 1986, 37 years ago, and threw themselves into the community. My mother made so many good friends in Kosmos over the years. The Dixons, Littles, Pedleys, Worms, Schultons, Worths, Mackays, Scroobies, Millers, Cox, Chrobblers, Palmers, Cravens, Van Ulens, Michaels, Eusters, Clues, and so many more. In recent years, friends such as Jane, Rex, Viv, and Keith have given huge comfort and support to her, and this congregation has gone the extra mile, for which we, the family, are very grateful. As you know, cancer, despite a fierce fight, had tired her and had made her body weak. But her mind remained strong and she was completely lucid to the end. So an end of an era for all of us. And we will miss this extraordinary, beautiful, vibrant, and gracious friend, mother, mother-in-law, grandmother, and great-grandmother. But always, to have the last word, my mother asked me to quote from Winston Churchill. "I'm ready to meet my Maker, but is he ready to meet me?"
Well,